Hello and welcome to Video Revealed. I'm Colin Smith. Let me show you how I created a very inexpensive teleprompter. The inexpensive part is everything except the laptop that's in there with the text on it. You can use any laptop or any tablet. It has to be something very small to fit in this area. Speaking of small, I don't have enough room in the studio and I'm by myself to show you how to set this up in a real world. So I created a virtual walkthrough of how a teleprompter works. Let's have a look at this now. So you can see that the person is sitting in front of the teleprompter and the camera, and they're looking straight at it and reading the text. And if we go over to the side and take this apart piece by piece, you can see that we have the laptop or tablet. And in my case, I built something out of just a cheap piece of wood, inexpensive sheet of glass. And then to darken the area, I'm using some foam core. Now, even though there is a reflection on one side of the glass, the other side is completely blank. The camera lens sees right through the glass, past the reflection, and captures the subject. So on one side, the camera's capturing the subject, and the other side, the subject sees the reflected text. And that's how I end up creating a very inexpensive teleprompter. So I'm going to take you through each one of those pieces. All right. So let me first break this down to the two simplest elements, which is a screen, a tablet or a laptop, and a piece of glass. This is a cheap picture frame, and you can see when it's held at the right angle, it will reflect that. And it's basically at a 45-degree angle. So obviously you can't hold this the whole time, so you need to be able to create something that you can rest this on, put this on, and put it on an angle. So what I did was I went to my favorite place, which is the dollar store, and got some butcher block and put these two little pieces of wood on it. Now, if I really was doing a lot of work with a teleprompter, I'd just paint this black, but I haven't had time, so it's basically wood. This is just trim from a door. You can get this at the hardware store at Home Depot, and it's just cut at a 45-degree angle. This is the trim that goes in the side of a door jamb. It's really cheap. You can get it in long 8-foot lengths, so you only need one, and you just fasten it on each side, and I just hammered it in with some nails. So now I've got a flat surface. Now I've got something to hold the picture frame. The size of this is dependent upon the tablet. So if you're using an iPad or a laptop, then the piece of wood has to be based on that size. That's why me giving you these sizes is only worthwhile if you're using the Lenovo ThinkPad or IdeaPad that I have here, the Yoga. So what's interesting about this, and I didn't plan it this way, it just happens to fit perfectly, but I got a very deep, you can see that there's a very thick frame here, and what that allows is there's a lot of place for the wood to catch on here. So when you place it on here, and it fits totally by accident, it fits nicely. So the wood, you can see, is just holding that in place. So now I've got the reflective glass and a place to put the laptop. So if I put this in here, there we go. That's the basis of everything here. Now, you obviously mount the camera in the back, and if you darken this back up, then you're able to see through. So let me just show you that real quick. So even if I grab any piece of old fabric or a towel, look, as long as that's covering up the back, boom. You'll notice right away, it looks great. This is a piece of cheap-ass glass reflecting on a hunk of wood from the dollar store. So that's the big difference that makes. So like I said, anything that you put on there is going to darken it up. What do I use? Again, I went for cheap, and this is foam core. If you're not used to foam core, you can get this, again, at the dollar store or art supply store. It's basically foam, and you can get it black or white, so it's better to get it in black. And I just cut this and put this and taped it together. That's all. Cut a hole in the back. So one on the side, one on the side, a piece on the top, and this on the back. And then the front is just wide open. Let me show you how I cut that over here. Okay, so if you go to your local art supply store, that's the best place to get these things here. First of all, I'm cutting with an X-Acto blade, and these are incredibly sharp, way sharper than a kitchen knife. And these are the best to cut. A straight edge, again, a metal straight edge is good. And cutting this on a cutting mat just helps so that you're not cutting through something else, and you can really press hard on the foam core. So if we look at our foam core, let me just get this piece off here. So you measure it up, cut it. There you go, you've got the two pieces. And here we'll just grab some cheap tape. This is just gaff tape, but if we tape that here, line up the side, line up the side, tape the side, that's it. That's all it is. You're just taping those together like that, and then eventually that will build the box. All right, so if you combine those two together, then we get this. Boom, and the camera would be hiding the hole that's on the back. So here's the thing, even though this is a small laptop, this is already getting heavy. This will not be something that you could put easily on a tripod, on a cheap tripod. You can put it on an expensive tripod, but this is already a lot of weight. Now, I'm going to show you how I attach this to the camera. Let me take this all down. And I'm going to be attaching this to 15mm rods. So it's very common. There's a lot of camera accessories that are based on these 15mm rods, including the space between them. This is a pretty much universal thing. And I'm showing you this, but normally it's a lot smaller. I just put it all the way up in the top because I'm going to be putting my Canon 5D on here. Normally I have my Blackmagic, which is sitting on a Red Rock micro cage, and that cage is where I slide these two on there. But I'll show you with my 5D. So I mounted 15mm rod clamp on here. And again, you can get these fairly cheap. This is, they don't make this particular one anymore. In fact, I put Red Rock Micro on another iKan cheese plate. So this is really a Frankenstein project. I had something to attach. These clamps have something to go that way, but they don't have something to go beyond there into the wood. So this is a cheese plate, and that's typically what these are called. They're a hunk of metal with a whole bunch of 1/4-20 holes in it and 3/8 holes, so you can mount a whole bunch of things to it. So I just mounted that on that and that on that. So now I've got all of that together. So if we, and I'm using a Manfrotto quick release on the bottom. So now I've got my 15mm rods, and I attach this to here. The other benefit of having long rods is we're going to put the lens inside the box. So if we can move this in and out, that's going to be a lot easier. Okay, so there we go. That's the first step. And the second step is to, oh, I do this all the time. I put it the wrong way. Dirt. Okay. And now I put the glass on. Slide the laptop in. I'll also have a link in the description of the software I'm using. One of the reasons why I'm not going through the software is because they change all the time. This is TeleKast with a K, and it's an open source piece of software that I found. All right, so the last step is the foam core, and you can tell that this is really getting beat up. Like, the foam core is not durable at all, but it is super, super light. Okay, so there we go. Now I'll just stick the camera on. And like I said, if you've got the 15mm rods that you can do that. Pull this forward, turn that around, and there we go. And the brightness that you're looking at here, actually this is pretty good because it's actually brighter in this room than what the camera is capturing. This is an inexpensive sheet of glass, but if you went to a car customizing place and they do the tinted window thing, they could treat that with something that's even highly reflective, which would take it up another level. But that's not in my budget. If I was doing this professionally, I would. So this material is light. If I was looking for a more professional look, these monitor hoods, and iKan has things like this, they would have to be pretty big. Normally, only the big professional hoods are this big, but this is a Velcro kind of material. It's very thin. It's very light. And this one is for quadcopters. But if you could get this the right size of that and you painted your wood black, man, there's no reason why this wouldn't look super professional. But there we go. There's my teleprompter. I've used it several times, and I've used it for people with zero professional experience, obviously because they're reading a script. They sit down, they don't question it, they just look at it, read it, and off it goes. So it's worked several different times, really, really well, and it was dirt cheap. I would probably have to replace this. If I was using this more, like I said, I would either come up with another solution or replace this foam core every 6 months. Foam core is about $2. Bit of tape and some effort, and boom, you've got it. So there you go. There is a cheap teleprompter. When I say cheap, I mean everything but the laptop. If you've got an extra tablet hanging around or a laptop, then you can get this done and set it up and have your own teleprompter. All right. If you're new to Video Revealed and you found something like this useful, take a moment and subscribe. You want to support us some more, you can do that through PayPal. You can click on the link in the description or the front of the channel, donate monthly or a one-time donation. Love all of our PayPal supporters. If you want to be notified of our weekly tutorials, ring the bell down below so you'll be notified. Till next time, I'm Colin Smith. It's my job to get behind the scenes and show you some of the cheap-ass software, cheap-ass hardware that I make so that you can have yourself a cool-looking teleprompter.